We knew the old timers left us hundreds of millions of silver equivalent ounces at freight grade.
Yeah.
We just had to get after it. But sometimes when you drill, and make no mistake about this, Rob, we've looked at all kinds of Spanish American mines, almost all of them. All the discoveries we've had have been around them. This was the hottest we ever looked at. 100 million silver equivalent ounces at 2.5 kilos almost in 20 years. It doesn't get any hotter. So we always knew when we started to drill. Remember, the old timers drilled nothing. They drifted and they raised. There was never a drill hole really until we got there. You have no idea what you're going to get into. And when we started drilling into that shale formation, that was waste rock for them. But I'll take 15 meters of a kilo every day of the week. That's a valuable, valuable ore. And that's the kind of magic you have here, is because they only wanted anything that was quartz vein, 0.5 meter to a meter, and 1.2 kilos was their cutoff grade. So imagine what they've left us right there. You're starting to see it. And boy, that we really think this is going to become a very important strategic silver asset. The institutions are already in. It's de-risked. Capital's unlimited for us. Come along for the ride. Yes, we've already won, but we haven't got our winnings yet. That's next year when this share price rock and rolls. That's where we're going.
Hey everybody, this is Rob Kientz at 𝙂𝙊𝙇𝙀𝙍.com. It is Monday, December 13th, 2021. You guys will see this out on the channel in a couple of days. And what I wanted to do for next year is bring back some of our guests that we've had this year. So we have Glenn Jessome, who's President and CEO of Silver Tiger. How are you doing today, Glenn?
Great, Rob. Great to see you, and top of the season to you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's a great time of year. We're kind of winding it down. And I know investors have on their mind examining their portfolios, looking at it, seeing what their targets are going to be for next year. So I wanted to bring you back on to be top of mind for them and discuss Silver Tiger. I think you guys have had a tremendous amount of news lately.
Absolutely, Rob. And everybody's winding down. We'll wind down this week, but on the mountain, on 𝙁𝙁𝙇𝙀𝙍, the team have done a fantastic job this year. We started with 3 drills. I told everybody we'd be 6 by the end of the year. We were 6 because the mountain demanded that. We'll talk about results in a minute. And as everybody should know, that big camp, Mexico is a big Christian country. As you know, Christmas is a big holiday. And we're slowly now turning each of those 6 drill rigs down. That'll take another 5 or 6 days. They'll be down for 2 or 3 weeks. And then boom, right back 6 turning the first week of January. And plans now to get the 7th and the 8th on the mountain. The mountain's demanding it. So it's been a great run. You saw some of the things we accomplished. But as we say, we're going to take a little break now. And what a wonderful year for 𝙁𝙁𝙇𝙀𝙀. Look, we told everybody what we were going to do. We were going to drill that 𝙂𝙊𝙇 vein, and we talked about it. We're the old timers, that old mine, that old American mine. We got 30,000 hectares, 35 kilometers long. We're focused on that, 2 kilometers around the old Tiger mine. The old Tiger mine, 1908. Don't forget it, Rob, to 1930. 100 million silver equivalent ounces at almost 2.5 kilos per ton silver. The Americans took out of there, your colleagues. And they went home. Silver 20 cents or less. Dangerous place to be at that point. All those mines shut. Last sat there until we got it back. And we said, we're going to go after, as we always do in Mexico, our group out of Halifax for 30 years, what the old timers left us. Boy, they left us a lot. That 𝙂𝙊𝙇 vein, we've been drilling on that all year with 3 drill rigs. Man, oh man, I'm not going to go review it. I'll show you a couple of results, the most recent from that in a second. But we're killing it all across that vein. We've got basically multi-kilo hits almost in the quartz vein, and a wide shale, black shale around that vein where we're getting 10, 20 meters of upwards of a kilo close to surface. Couldn't have gone better. We'll come back to that. And then we got the next 3 drill rigs on the mountain. I'll show you in the map in a minute. We went after that eastern vein where the old timers mined just to low depth, the 𝙂𝙂𝙇𝙀𝙀. And, we had a little talk 3 weeks ago. We drilled that first or second hole on that 𝙂𝙂𝙀𝙀 down dip, and 82 kilos silver. You don't see that every day. And all of those 13 holes we put out on that were 0.5 kilo. 3 drills have been turning on that since then. Get ready for a lot more super results on the 𝙂𝙂𝙀𝙀 early in the new year once we get all those assays back. So couldn't be happier with how the year went. 6 drills turning now, going to 8. super high grade, consistent, showing continuity across multi-kilometers of strike, silver. Beautiful stuff. But what I think we'll do right now, before we talk about next year and the plans, let's look at, it's always about updates. Since we talked, we came out with the next press release, and I'm going to share that right now. Not 82 kilos silver, my friend, but let's face it, we're not complaining about 2.6 meters close to surface of almost 5 kilos, but look what it's within. 15 meters of over a kilo. I mean, that's beautiful ore. I don't need to tell you how economic that is, but really the newest development on the mountain is what I'm going to talk about today. If you remember, throughout the summer, early fall, we were talking about a footwall zone following these high-grade quartz veins all over the property. What we've come to understand now is the mountain has taught us, and it's through exploration, it's not a footwall zone, it's a horizon. It's on the footwall and the hanging wall side. And it looks like, Rob, it's in a shale environment. That's what it looks like, a black shale. And we're seeing it in the 𝙂𝙊𝙇𝙑𝙬𝙊. We're seeing it in the Benjamin to the north, which is the northern 𝙂𝙊𝙇. And we're seeing it all through the 𝙂𝙊𝙇. So look, beautiful stuff. Those are fantastic results. I'm going to go down to the cross section and you'll really see what I'm talking about here. That's your section that's so important. That's a kilometer and a half north on the 𝙂𝙊𝙇 vein. We call it the Benjamin up there, as you know, and I'll show you. Let me just orient you so everybody knows where we are first. There's that 3 or 4 kilometers right in the middle of the guts of the 35 kilometers we have. That's 3-4 kilometers of it. Everything you see at the bottom that's in black, that's where the old timers mine. You see the 𝙂𝙊𝙇, the one on the, as you're looking at it on the left, that goes for 3 kilometers. The black part, the old timers took a little bit, went to 150. The western or the right-hand side, that's your 𝙂𝙊𝙇. You got about 2 kilometers of that there. And you can see the old timers only took a little bit. We are now across that 𝙂𝙊𝙇, your western or left-hand side vein, and we got that thing filled in some beautiful. Everything we're hitting all along that 3 kilometers is multi-kilo. And then you see this blowout into that shale horizon, which I'm going to go back to, indicative in this last press release a week ago. Beautiful ore close to surface. You're going to get the quartz vein, but you're going to get some wide zones that, we're too early days yet, but might be mechanized. Mining we're going to get into, and pretty exciting stuff there, Rob. The 𝙂𝙊𝙇𝙑, the one on the right-hand side where that cursor is in the black near the bottom of the screen. I mean, we put 13 holes in that. All of them were half kilo. Put those out 3 weeks ago. I talked about it. The highlight being half meter of 82 kilos. That's over a kilo gold. That's incredible grade. And that's what this mine had. That's the tenor grade. If you're investing in the Tiger, you're after super high grade silver. That's what we are. And so very, very exciting. We're very happy with the performance of those 6 drills this year. Let's go back to that press release, and you can see that beautiful interception, and you can see where we got the quartz vein, which is the red line going through the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, in this case 2.6 meters of 4.375 kilos. That's incredible grade. But you can see the little blue, and I'm trying to circle with the cursor. Hope people can see that. I can't draw on the computer.
Yeah.
That is showing that in that shale, see that horizon in the bottom of that flat formation, a couple 100 meters from surface, not even 100 meters from surface, you're starting to see this blowout of high grade precious metals in the footwall and the hanging wall outside what we know that quartz vein, we know that goes for another 700 or 800 meters. But this is valuable. And that's really the addition we have here now. The mountain keeps delivering. We had that open pit potential. You saw that when we drilled off from surface in the Tiger Formation, all these veins sit in the pit at surface. Then you got unlimited amounts of this quartz vein, 1, 2, 3 meters. Now we're seeing the next episode, and that's this shale, this beautiful shale formation which is having a blowout in the hanging wall and footwall of high-grade gold and silver mineralization. So, you know, the interesting thing was why we knew when we got this, and it's so simple. Why we bought this was we're garbage men. I've told you that before, Rob. There's no new discovery in Mexico. Anybody who tells you this, they're full of baloney. All the mines running around the head frames will Spanish or American mines. Many of the ones we've put in production over our 30 years out of Halifax have been American. And Americans all went home in 1930. They took their winnings and left. Silver less than 20 cents. Dangerous place for basically, let's just say the gringos to be. And Cheese Pot of the South is an example of that. They left. Modern technology comes in and you get after it. And the old timers always leave way more than they took. Imagine what they took here. 100 million silver equivalent ounces in 20 years at 2.5 kilos silver, 80% of it real silver. That's what we're looking at here. And boy, is this ever getting exciting in a hurry. So, you know, not a lot more to talk about. Could not have been a better year for us. And I want to remind people, if they're looking at what they should have in their portfolio, and that's what we're talking about at the end of the year. When I sit back, I look at how we did. We start the year at 25 or 30 cents. I took $11 million last fall to start exploring on this thing with 3 drill rigs of 2020 at 30 cents with a half warrant at 50, all institutional, 11 million Canadian. Told everybody I'd be back before I spent it, and I get the rest of the other 20 I need to really get after it with this with 8 or 10 drills because it needs it. I said I'd do it at 60 cents. I don't know if anybody believed me, but Super Bowl weekend, we announced a $20 million deal and went through the shoe at 23 at 60 cents with no warrant. I still got 18 million of that. That's why we can turn these drills. We're well financed for what's coming next year. And the lead on that, Franklin Templeton, Asset Management, Merck, Ranjan, Libra out of New York. If they're the smartest people in the business, which I think they are, they did their work on the Tiger and they were so happy to give us that money at 60 cents. We've battled really hard since then with great drill results. It's not been easy. You know what the summer was. And we all said, okay, we're going to get that nice fall in the Christmas rally. It'll happen next year. We all know that. But it didn't. So we're still trading above where we raised all our money, Rob. Very proud of that. That's not easy to do. If you look at a lot of the peers, they've gone down. It's great for us because when you drill 82 kilos and 15 meters of a kilo and you're drilling it all over the mountain, you're treading, you're holding on. But when that market turns, trust me, everybody knows about the results we have had. And I know what results we're going to deliver off the 𝙂𝙂𝙇𝙬𝙊 and the 𝙬𝙂 next year. It's going to get very exciting. When we get that tailwind, look out for the Tiger. And we'd love to have some of your guys thinking, because for us, we're very lucky, and I'm not being in any way criticizing or being detrimental to any of my peers. But a lot of our guys are going to have a little bit of pressure on them between now and Christmas or the end of the year. Tax end selling, you know, we're not in that position, thank goodness, because we killed it with the drill bit. So we're going to be the ones, I hope, when that money rotates, and it will, it's, you know, the guys are going to come back in. We'd love to have you in the Tiger. I think you'd be very well served, knowing what I see on the horizon with when we get back and basically, excuse me, get those drills turning again, and 6 will turn to 8. And let's go. Last thing I'm going to whet everybody's appetite with is this old mine is very safe. And this is for next year. We'll share this in January with a full presentation on Verify. But, you know, back in the 80s, Anaconda, one of the biggest mining companies of the United States, was in there, Butte, Montana. 100 years old company. They built all the big copper mines around us in Mexico. Unfortunately, they were bought by Standard Oil, which is now BP, and put out a business in 1984. In the summer of 83, Rob, they were in there at the Tiger, spent a whole summer there. And you know what they did? They were miners, because they had one big copper mine, which is now owned by Grupo. They built in the 50s, called 𝙂𝙊𝙇𝙬𝙁, 40 kilometers away, 100 kilometers away, is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, copper mine in all of North America, called Cananea. They went underground for that summer. And boy, did they ever leave us some information. As you know, we got all those old mine records from University of Wyoming and the Anaconda collection after they went out of business. Beautiful stuff for us to have. They went through the whole mine, Rob, in 1983. They walked all through the 𝙬𝙂, all the way through the end of the Tiger, and all the way basically over to the 𝙂𝙂𝙊𝙬𝙀, where we just drilled 82 kilos. The mine's is drive from 7 up, and the main entrance is 7. We've already contracted the mining contractors. We're getting back in there. That's the exciting part. And we're going to be in there. We're going to basically walk right over, probably second quarter. Don't quote us on that. We've been, as you know, mining and have great relationships with those contractors for a long time, being 30 years in Mexico. And we're going to take a walk over. We're going to put our hand right on that spot where those 82 kilos were. We're going to get all through the Tiger. And, you know, the next step for us now is to really get established and get underground, start doing some of our drilling from under there, because it is dry and it is safe. So that's going to be, ask what's coming next. Get ready for having a look inside the old Tiger mine early next year. But focus today, 6 drills will be 8 before you know it. And you're going to have results coming off that 𝙂𝙊𝙇𝙀𝙍, competing with results off that 𝙂𝙊𝙇. And we hope and think they're going to be very, very much like the last 2 or 3 press releases you saw. And if that market starts giving us a tailwind, look out. Yeah,
that's the stage you're in for investors, is you have already a lot of results, really impressive results with that 82 kilo find we announced earlier this month, or last month. But what you're going to have is so much news and so much resources coming out. This is where the big growth phase in your company is going to come from an investor perspective. The institutions are already in, and a lot of other wealthy investors are going to start to come in when we start to see that news coming out. So 100%. I think next year a tremendous amount of share price appreciation as that news comes out. And we've seen that happen in other silver miners in your area. It has happened. There's plenty of case examples of that. And that's what we expect to happen going forward. And of course, Glenn, we talked last time with Dave Kranzler on the proposition for silver. Yes. We think silver prices are too low. So that's the second factor that's going to help out silver companies, including yours, with the level of resources you're getting, is higher prices in silver. We know we're in a supply deficit. Eventually, the market's going to recognize it. It always happens. It's always after the fact. We always know about the shortage before the market recognizes it. Yes. But then the market recognizes it, and then you've got higher silver prices on top of you guys adding your reserves. And both of those things are going to drive silver companies forward. And you guys in your district are in the lead in terms of what you guys are finding. So that's what investors need to look at. You're the lead dog in that race right now.
100%. And you know what? We keep score one way, and we're not promotional. We just deliver results. We don't hire IR. We don't hire any of that stuff. Here's our results. Buy the stock. And you know what? You saw who bought it. $23 million of it last April. Number one. And since then, sure, I raised that money at 60 cents Canadian. I'm still there today. That's a big accomplishment when silver's gone from $30 to 22.
As sure as heck is.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, I know where we'd be today if silver was still $30. It wouldn't be 60 cents. So
no, it would
look out when that turns. And kind of like Christmas is coming, and I know I'm going to get done, open my presents pretty soon. I just got to be patient. And really, the last thing I'd like to say to the viewers, we knew we had an amazing project in 𝙂𝙂𝙇𝙀𝙀. We knew the old timers left us hundreds of millions of silver equivalent ounces at freight grade.
Yeah.
We just had to get after it. But sometimes when you drill, and make no mistake about this, Rob, we've looked at all kinds of Spanish American mines, almost all of them. All the discoveries we've had have been around them. This was the hottest we ever looked at. 100 million silver equivalent ounces at 2.5 kilos almost in 20 years. It doesn't get any hotter. So we always knew when we started to drill. Remember, the old timers drilled nothing. They drifted and they raised. There was never a drill hole really until we got there. You have no idea what you're going to get into. And when we started drilling into that shale formation, that was waste rock for them. But I'll take 15 meters of a kilo every day of the week. That's a valuable, valuable ore. And that's the kind of magic you have here, is because they only wanted anything that was quartz vein, 0.5 meter to a meter, and 1.2 kilos was their cutoff grade. So imagine what they've left us right there. You're starting to see it. And boy, that we really think this is going to become a very important strategic silver asset. The institutions are already in. It's de-risked. Capital's unlimited for us. Come along for the ride. Yes, we've already won, but we haven't got our winnings yet. That's next year when this share price rock and rolls. That's where we're going.
I agree with you, Glenn. Last point I wanted to make, stick with these mining companies right now. They're undervalued. If you look at the P&Es of the broad stock market, it's ridiculous. That always flips. And when it flips, they come into resources big. So you guys buying Silver Tiger, 𝙂𝙊𝙇𝙍 Resources, these companies undervalued to the price to net asset value for the resources they have in the ground. When that switches, they go above the net asset value of that in the ground. And that can happen very, very quickly. So that always happens. It's cyclical. So now's when you want to buy and sit there and hold that with good companies. And when that changes in the market, it happens very fast. You can't buy your way, Glenn, into the market when it starts to run. Once it runs, if you're not in, you're out.
It'll be like that.
It'll be like that. Yeah. So now's the time to make those investments for people who are planning for next year. We got a series of videos coming out on how to plan your portfolio. This is what you want to do, particularly in the mining stocks. Buy the good ones now, plan, hold those, wait for that market turn, and that's when you're going to get your value. Glenn, so good to have you on. I appreciate you coming at the end of the year and making a special visit for us, for those of you. I know a lot of our followers ask me questions all the time about your company, and we're happy to bring you back on.
Robert, thank you so much. We really look forward to delivering more results for any of your guys that are shareholders who become shareholders. And, it won't be very long that, I'll be taking, when we're doing one of these, we'll be going down underground and having a look inside the old Tiger mine. It's going to be very exciting. First 6 months of next year are going to be incredible for us. And we're so happy to have your folks watching along with us. Thank you so much. And again, I'm going to say to all your folks out there, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you as well, Glenn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. We appreciate it. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification button so you get those notifications when new content comes out. If you like what we're doing here, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Those members of Patreon will get extra special content delivered to them as well.